Welcome everybody, our first meeting, without a chair. I don't think we have a vice chair on this committee.
I don't think so.
I don't think we,
Um,
I don't recall you.
I don't know, I mean, so the way this committee is run, it's run by a local ordinance. And probably should have had a copy of it, but, I've read it many times. I don't recall it saying, anything about chair and vice chair, but, which we could do. So we do have to, elect a new chair, and I've, very softly polled a few members, and, there hasn't. Does anybody online have any interest? So I'll just say this. I mean, I'm happy to, for the time being, take the chair. If I'm happy to give it to a volunteer also. You guys put in a lot of work and, but in terms of taking the chair, I mean, I run meetings, everything's done internally here anyway. We create the agendas and everything, so I'm not suggesting myself for chair, please don't think that, but as a matter of convenience, I'm happy to do it for now. Until we maybe bring someone on or someone else has an interest in it. This is the one board besides the Board of Selectmen where I am a full member, per the ordinance. So, whatever the board's pleasure is, I can assure you it's not something, that I need to have, so.
Well, I'd like to make a motion that we elect Carl Fortuna as the chair of our pension and benefit board.
Second.
Second,
That was good. Any other nominations from the floor? Do that. Rowena, do you have any interest?
Thank you, Carl. I appreciate that. I'm always willing to help. My concern is with my court schedule. I probably couldn't be present for every single meeting, and that makes a little bit of a disruption. So that's my answer. I don't know that I am reliable enough at the moment.
Yeah, and that is kind of what we figured, that, and you know, you and Leland and so same thing. So, all right. So why don't we do that? It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
I
Any opposed? Okay. So maybe next meeting, we can put on the agenda, not today, we don't need to, a vice chair. Maybe we should create the position of a vice chair. You know, because I may not be able to make a meeting or so, but that might be a good idea. All right, Chrissy? All right. So we need, all right, so I know on the agenda, yeah,
Carl, if that is created, I'd be happy to try and serve in that capacity, and hopefully I could cover the meetings you could.
terrific, thank you. So I know, I have to be at another meeting in New Haven at 10, so I'm probably gonna leave here a little after 9. I have to get there a little bit early for other reasons. So we do wanna move up because Rowena and I were both involved in it, and I have to leave. I'm gonna join by phone for as long as I can. An update on the annual, update on the town pension plan document. So with the board's consensus, can we move that up right now? Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right? All right, why don't we?
Okay.
Well, and let's not forget the minutes, but if we do, we'll.
That's what she said, yeah.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
go ahead.
All right, so, as Carl mentioned, Carl, Rowena and I have been working with Pam Fleming of Reed and Reed, on our pension plan document for the defined benefit plan for the town, not the fire department, just the town. The last time it was updated was in 2008. And a lot of things have happened since 2008. We have a defined contribution plan, most notably. We have a lot of language in here that refers to mortality tables and all kinds of other documents or other things that are old, outdated, but because it says that, we have to use those tables, and there's a lot more that are updated that we should be using. And also, because we've been very active, or Carl's been very active in the negotiation with all of our employees, that language no longer, fits the plan. So, once we boiled it all down, there's really, those three things are the main changes that have been made in this document. And so, we have the, red line version, and I'm happy to go through it line by line. Or if everybody has read it, I'm happy to not do that. But again, I think that those are the three major changes. One thing that I will say, two more things I will say. Number one is, in this pension document, it has to, as Janet and I administer this program, we have to be able to calculate a benefit without any gray areas. I mean, that's kind of the whole idea of this thing. So we tried to put in a lot of things like, at the recommendation of the pension board, and the attorney was like, no, you can't do that. So what we did instead is we made it an addendum at the end that has a lot of things in there, the level of interest rates, the mortality tables, all those things that can change with time. And then every year when the actuary comes in, we could take a look at those things. What we've also done is we have hired the actuary to take a look at that addendum and give us, kind of, it's been 25 years, and she's gonna go through the whole thing and come back to us. That part, we just engaged the firm to do that, but, and that probably won't be ready till September. So, we can do, a couple things. If you're not ready to approve this today, we can approve it in September, or if you think everything's good, we can recommend it and go forth to the Board of Selectmen. There's a couple of things that we found in here that I think are noteworthy. Number one, we have always been, when an employee retires, we go back to their date of hire, but this plan says that for the first 6 months, we don't charge them anything. We don't have their employee copay. And the reason why this document says that is because it also says that the date of pension entry is the date that after the 6 months. So, given the way that everybody has been, our past practice, obviously it is the correct thing to do, is to go back to the date of hire. And going forward, we're going to start charging the employees on their date of hire for their copay. There's only one police officer right now who's kind of in the midst of it, in the midst of that 6-month window. We'll just let that ride. But any new employees, we're gonna start charging them right away.
They get their money back.
They get their money back. It's not any,
So,
the employee is
there's
not
no harm, no foul.
any disadvantage, whether they don't get vested or not.
Are the unions okay with that?
It's a benefit to the employees.
Yeah,
That
we
has-
didn't,
I don't know.
we did not involve the unions in this yet.
Okay.
We did, we could notify them of that change, I suppose, but that's the DB plan.
That's the DP plan.
It's not the DC plan, correct?
Correct. The DC plan, everybody starts.
So
right?
nobody, it's only the police at this point. That would only apply to the police, correct?
Well, it would apply to every union
Well-
if all of a sudden they said anybody, has their new date of pension entry is going to be 6 months after they were hired. I don't think they'd be too happy with
No,
that.
right.
And-
Right.
Yeah, and plus what about all the people that we've already paid?
Yeah, but you can never assume what.
You can-
I know that, that's true. You never know. So this went out to the board when?
Last week.
Okay. I mean. What is the board's feeling on this? Has the board had enough time to review it, number one? We could have a virtual meeting, we're not meeting again until September. I mean, we could have a quick virtual meeting with a one-item agenda if people aren't ready to move forward, but we would like to get this moving forward as soon as possible. But if the board is not, depends how the board feels and whether they're comfortable moving today. Paul, you're muted. Paul, you're muted.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the retirement plan as proposed.
Okay. That's to put on the floor for discussion. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Okay, so let's discussion, all right, and Susan?
We had plenty of time to look at it,
Yeah.
first go around and then the second.
With
so.
Rowena, Rowena was intimately involved.
I'm certainly fine with it. I was prepared to, offer people point out some significant changes, but Leanne has done the high level review excellently as always. And if people are comfortable with that and have had the opportunity to review it and don't have any questions, I don't need to belabor the issue.
Rowena, if you wanna, I mean, you were part of the committee, and so if you do have some comments, please offer them.
Unfortunately, your change of the schedule made it difficult. I'm like walking in the door and I need to put it in front of me and I need like 5 minutes to do that. So I just can't do it right now. So I appreciate the offer, but if people are comfortable, I think I'll have to pass.
Okay, all right. My comment would be, I think working with Pam was pleasant. We got the attention we needed.
Yes.
And I think that was one of the things where we fell short previously. So we were happy with the attention we got from Pam, and I personally want to thank Rowena for giving us the time on this. As usual, and as you would expect, she was on it and made her comments, and hopefully she felt they were addressed appropriately. So thank you, Rowena, for your involvement on that. I know it's extra time for you that you may not have. And I also, I mean, again, Leanne has done so many transformational things for our pension plan and the town in general, just so you know. But this truly, for the next foreseeable future, I don't want to say years, who knows how many years, 10 to 15 before the plan might need another review, but it's kind of a big deal to, it makes us all feel good that we're up to date. So thank you, Leanne, for all your efforts on this and taking it up. Really, you're really the one who said we need to do this. So, and those are always big projects. So, any other comments from the board?
No, I appreciate it being taken up as well, because I've seen many cases where towns just like let it go for decades and until, a problem arises and it becomes a big problem, so.
Yeah,
It's great.
it's a cleaner document now, so. Anything else? Hearing none, all those in, what, go ahead.
I just want to say that the motion is to recommend to the Board of Selectmen.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I just want to
So
clarify that.
Paul will, just amend your
That's
motion.
fine,
to-
that's fine.
That it will be recommended to the Board of Selectmen. We won't motion that, we'll just add to it that,
Right,
the revisions be recommended to the Board of Selectmen. Is that all right?
yes,
And Susan, I think you seconded that, so. All right, hearing no further discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
aye,
Aye.
All right, any opposed? Hearing none, that motion passes. Thank you, Leanne,
Thank you,
and
Carl.
Rowena. and, for that. All right, we'll move to the approval of the minutes from the last meeting. Is there a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Is there a
Second.
second? Then by someone then.
Oh,
Oh, okay. Any comments, changes, corrections? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
aye,
Any opposed? You. Let me just look at the agenda in case there's anything I want to address before. So I'll just say we're still in negotiations with the dispatchers. We had some dates, they canceled them, so I'm trying to get with Pat McHale to reschedule a couple of them. A couple more dates. So with that, we'll move to Jan.
Okay. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. My pension payroll report is, will be as brief as possible. For June first, we, had 98 retirees for our town, plan. The gross payroll was $161,361. We had one retiree pass away and 2 retirees were issued health insurance waivers. With one QDRO spouse, we have 99 total participants. For the fire department, we have 40 retirees. We had 2 new retirees. As of June 1st, total gross payroll, $17,482. We also have one QDRO spouse for a total of 41 participants. Our pending retirements, George Tasillo, middle school custodian, he will retire next month, August 1st, with 12 years of service. And our police chief, Spira, will retire September 1st with 35 years of service. Our current DB/DC plans for active employees, as of our last payroll on June 20th, our DB plan has 27 contributing police officers, 20 contributing town employees, and 20 contributing Board of Ed employees, for a total of 67 participants. Our defined contribution plan has 47 town employees, 25 Board of Ed employees, for a total of 72. And our Board of Ed number is just a few numbers lower because of summer. A couple of staff members are not on the payroll over the summer. 76% of our DC participants elect the additional employer match. That's 87% for the town and 56% for the Board of Ed right now.
Jan, are the, by the way, I'm the new chairman, so behave yourself.
I was
right?
wondering. I showed up late, so I couldn't get it.
Yeah, that could happen.
Get a market party.
If you're not giving me time. Are you finding all the,
Bring everyone coffee.
yeah,
Every night.
all the new officers are electing the DB plan? Mostly,
Yes. Yeah. They're the only, the few officers that are lateral or who have retired with
Yeah,
other,
they're-
yeah, they'll elect the DC plan.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
yeah,
okay.
but most everyone is the DB
Very
plan.
good. Okay, good, thank you. Anything else?
That's it.
You're rolling, we just have for our own information, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And, what's it, I have my agenda also went blank. What's the next on the agenda? All right, Morgan Stanley then.
So, all right, we want to start with, I think it's important, the cash flow report, so does everyone have that? If they don't, I've got some extra copies here. So we do this every year just to, we do this in conjunction with the actuary. The assume, using the assumed rate of return, using the cash flow that we're getting from the investments. And obviously the contributions that the town's putting in, the employees are putting in, the liabilities that have to be paid from the pension. So just, I think the two big things to note here are, one, the ADEC is a lot higher than it was, the last time we did this because of the changes, in their bargaining contracts with the police. The actuary went over that the last time we spoke about 2 months ago. So you can kind of see it's around $800,000-900,000 as we kind of move forward here over the next 10 years. The good news is that the net cash flow is going to decrease. So if you can see in 2025, we've got about a $550,000 net deficit that we have to basically fund the liability payments for. But as we sort of move forward, it's going to be half that easily within the next 5-7 years, and even below $200,000 when we get out to 2034. And then I think another thing just to kind of point out too is that when we look at when we're gonna get to possibly, fully funded plan here, we're looking at somewhere between, 2028 and 2029, that we're looking to have about 100%, funded ratio. And that's with again, the assumed rate of return of 6.75 and the yield of the portfolio that we have right now of 2.50%, which, we would expect to increase as dividends get increased from the companies. We just added the 2 value managers this past month too. So we feel like that cash flow should be increasing because they're gonna be a little bit more focused on companies that are paying dividends. Any questions? Thoughts on the cash flow? Okay. I'd say, just kind of going into the market perspectives, a few things to kind of point out. One is that, the market is a little complacent here. And so there's been a big retraction, obviously, from the lows that we had just a few months ago, to where we are now. The market is basically discounting any tariff, talk from Trump, really discounted this Iran conflict, and Israeli conflict. I think that there was really like one day that the market was kind of concerned about that. And then when some of the news came out about the telegraphing of the strikes and the evacuation of the bases from the United States, that this was hopefully going to be a very, short-lived conflict. That's obviously yet to be seen, but seems to be okay for now. Morgan Stanley is recommending overweight in fixed income international, equal weight in US. We've come much more close to equal weight in US with the addition of these 2 managers from last month. And the equity risk premium is still very, very, very low, right? We've talked about that ad nauseam for the past, year. Basically, the amount of premium you're getting on the earnings for your typical S&P stock is really kind of equal to the yield you would get in bonds. All right, so Morgan Stanley's right now 12-month forecast is for the S&P 500 to go up to 6,500. We feel like we are going to have a lot of choppiness from here to there. It's going to be very, very range bound. One of the things our strategists say is that this is a quote unquote traders market and not an investors market. So it's going to be very, very hard to invest over the next 12 months given where the different valuations are. We certainly are back up to higher valuations now. I think we're at like 21.5 times in the S&P 500. So kind of really right back to where we were, prior to this. But the good news in all of this, here's the good news, is that the DB plan is at its second highest level ever. It's at, as of yesterday, 240,000. And that even with all the volatility that we've had in the last 12 months, okay, with a election cycle, a new president, lots of changes in interest rates, tariffs, conflicts, etc. We're looking at, over the next few days here, if we can hold in over 9% fiscal year to date return, which would be great because that's again higher than what our assumed rate of return is. So that should help the ADEC going forward. As the actuary is able to kind of like bank some of those excess gains for future years. And when we look at the performance of, if you just want to go to the town pension, right on page 4, you see the last 5 years, even net of fees, we've averaged 783. So that is, higher than the assumed rate of return. Last 10 years, net 624, a little bit lower. And next 12 months cash flow, over $700,000 now, which is that's the highest that has been as well. So pension plans in a good spot. We're expecting another good fiscal year for this year. Going forward, the things that we have been overweight have done well. International, emerging markets, and high yield, especially. Those 3 things have been the sort of the leaders, I would say, over the last few years, or the last 12 months, this year. And, I think one of the things that has kind of come out over the last few days, I did include that gigantic interest rate summary report for you guys, just to see how different, parts of the firm can kind of feel differently. So Morgan Stanley's forward rate forward expectations for the Fed for this year is really 0 to 1 cuts for this year. And then we're expecting 7 rate cuts next year. So that's, that's 7 that came up. That's so the reason is because that the fixed income side is saying we're gonna have a lot lower growth. Unemployment is going to start ticking up. You're already seeing a lot of companies starting to lay off employees. And that's going to lead to a recession next year. Plus you have the fact that Trump is now being a lot more aggressive in replacing Fed Chair Powell. And to have someone that's sort of more in line with his agenda of cutting interest rates. And so we think that they're gonna be a little bit more aggressive, but there could be a recession on the horizon.
And his term's up next year.
2026. Thoughts or questions? So we made a lot of changes, in this past month. They're not reflected in here because this is as of month end, last month. But you'll see a much more equal weighting for US stocks. Reduction in mid cap stocks, slight reduction in short term bonds.
I'm sorry, Kevin, I didn't get all of that. In terms of the adjustments, we made a change a few months ago to adjust the range in the large cap. And is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
Wouldn't be reflected. It's not reflected in this one.
Not reflected in this report,
Right.
yeah, so because it was at the end of last month, we decided to make the change to the manager, so you'll see that on the report for next month.
The next
At the
month,
end.
okay.
Yes.
And what is your plan at this point? What, in terms of increasing the positions in large cap?
So we've already done that, that's already happened, that's what I'm saying, we added the 2 managers, we added about $1.2 million into the large cap and reduced mid cap and reduced short-term bonds.
Okay.
As we're doing it, so yeah, so when we
So,
run these numbers for month end, here going into the fiscal year end, you'll see a much more equal weighting for US large cap.
okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Anything else?
That's all I got.
Any questions?
No.
I know.
Good fiscal
That,
year.
that's great. Great news all around. So, I mean, it is hard to believe, given the environment we've been in since November.
Absolutely.
Especially with, a war in the Middle East. I mean, it's crazy. That, the market is so resilient. It's just, there's been a lot of opportunity for it to say, it's not gonna go up and it's gonna stay down or go down, so. It's almost like, that's why you stay invested, right?
Yes.
You don't try to time it. So,
And also being diversified, I think that one of the things obviously we talked ad nauseam was international and emerging markets were terrible forever. They're actually the things that are contributing the most to performance this fiscal year, right? So being diversified, a diversified basket is gonna help over the longer term. There's gonna be leaders and laggers, and international is really the big leader this year, so. Yep.
I wanna back up before,
I have a couple.
when we first came in, did you have an opportunity to look at the revisions? Okay, well, they were voted out. So if you do have any questions on them, the revisions to the pension plan, just let us know. So.
These are the revisions we talked about last month, or?
Well, they were sent to you in a document, so if you have an opportunity, why don't you take a look at it?
I'll take a look.
If you have
if I
any
need-
questions, come on in and talk to Leanne anyway. Alright. What else?
I just have a couple little things. The last act of our former chair, Daryl, was to sign the investment policy statement changes that we updated. That's all been given to you for your information. Next, we are going to be working on the defined contribution plan documents, now that we've done the defined benefit plan documents. So that's going to, start at some point over the summer perhaps, and later this fall, we'll be bringing that back to this group. And then we will have all the plan documents updated. We have the investment policy statement updated, and, you know, I think we're in pretty good shape for plan documents anyway. And then the last thing I just wanted to let everybody know, this is just an FYI. So every year we give our employees benefit statements from our actuary. It costs like $2,000 to do so. And it, you know, it's just a form that says if you retire today, you're gonna earn this money. Through our process of looking through our plan documents, we have found that it is unnecessary to give those to the employees. And so we're gonna stop doing that for two reasons. Number one, by the time the employee gets it, it's a year and a half later and the numbers don't make any sense. And it's kind of a waste of money. And number two, we have systems in-house that if an employee comes to us and says, what's my pension like, we can give it to them as of last payroll. So, we're just gonna replace requests with that. We're not gonna send anything out, but if anybody wants to know, we'll let them know that they can call and ask.
Do the employees also have a portal where they can go on and kind of see some of those projections themselves now?
Yeah, no, this is a system that we have off of our e-finance system. There are systems out there like that, and we looked at them, they're very expensive.
Yeah, but we do have employee portals for
Other things.
But
many
they
of-
can see their, obviously, their retirement account and, cause,
DC they can.
yeah,
Not DB.
okay.
DC they can. DB.
Yeah,
You know,
that makes sense.
And
I
so.
was thinking of DC.
But that's a
DC,
good,
right.
that's a good question, because we have to also, after we get the plan documents done, then we have to do plans, summary statements for our employees with the updated information. And we give them those, and we really don't communicate that often to our employees about how their pension plan is doing, and we should, because it's doing very well. And we have an employee newsletter, Janet, maybe we can add that to a certain quarter to just give them have Kevin say something, and we have, you know, all kinds of other ways, but we don't have an official way.
Oh, they don't get like
You
a
know-
statement every year.
They do, but not anymore.
That's right, she's the year
yeah.
involved.
But I do think it's a good idea to, as long as it's readily available, that's the most important thing, and it is a good idea just to remind them. If you have any questions about your plan, you know,
Right.
feel free to request them.
And in the employee quarterly newsletter, maybe we should talk about end of year results in the point.
Right, I think. so,
Jennifer's
too,
always
yeah.
looking for topics.
Topics, yeah, so that would be the September one, and Kevin can help us with that.
Okay.
Yeah. That might be, you know,
Yeah.
we do a quarterly newsletter and
Yeah.
Jennifer writes it and she's always looking for topics and
Mm.
so close of fiscal year, hey, town pension plan for those of you in the DB plan. And maybe we, in that newsletter, talk about the 457 and say, you know, you have an opportunity to have the town match it, you know, and
Right,
promote it in that too.
good idea, we'll do that.
I would think people are only gonna come ask you about their pension if they're thinking of retiring, right?
They do,
You
and
wouldn't
then, and
Yeah.
we can in-house
do that.
for those in the DB plan.
Yeah.
So if I walked up there right now and said, can you run my numbers as of June 30th? They can give me a pretty
Right.
darn close estimate.
Right, if you're not thinking of
So
retiring.
we don't need to go to Milliman for that.
Right, okay.
There's not much else on the agenda today.
I love the way you have such quick conclusions.
Yeah.
I'll take your Daryl.
Yeah, and, I mean,
Yeah.
even though, Daryl isn't here, you know, we want to thank him for his service to the board. I know we did that a little bit last meeting, this first meeting without him. So we want to thank him. I haven't heard from the family or anything, but, we wish him well. So, if there's
Motion
no
to adjourn.
further. Yeah, I'll second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.